If you've thought about dropshipping and using Google Ads for your business, you've probably heard comments ranging from Google does not allow advertising for dropshippers, period, all the way up to you can become a millionaire overnight with no effort through Google Ads. And as usual, the truth is somewhere very much in the middle between those two extremes. And I'm joined today by Becky and William from the team here at Step Group to talk about dropshipping and using Google Ads. And we'll be pulling from our experience of having worked with many dropshippers ourselves as clients of ours that we have actively that we're working with, as well as seeing many dropshippers who got suspended by Google and then had to try and dig their way out of that hole. So lots of different areas of expertise that we're bringing to this conversation. To kick things off, Becky, could you tell us, since you talk to a lot of people who are reaching out looking for help, what are you seeing people being told right now about dropshipping, whether it works with Google, and kind of what are some of maybe the misconceptions or accurate perceptions that you're seeing during the sales process?
Yeah, so I think that dropshipping, many of the people who are getting into it are being sold it, right? It is a business. You're buying into the idea that you can have this recurring form of revenue that you don't really have to do a whole lot of work on. And I think that that's the biggest misconception across the boards. Make a website, make a Google ad account, and pay Google some money, and you're going to get tons and tons of sales. And I think that it's got to be looked at just like you would any other business. There has to be a little heart and soul that's put into your dropshipping business the same as you would anything else. And what I mean by that is it doesn't have to be this long, arduous process, but a lot of people come into it thinking I can whip up this Shopify site, I can whip up my merchant center, I've got the app on my phone, all I've got to do is connect it, and boom, I'm running some Google ads and everything's good to go. And then I don't get the sales that I want. And I think that the problem is that there has to be a little bit more research that's going into it before you decide to drop ship. And then you need to research again before you start on Google Ads. The biggest problem I would say that we see, and I'll let Will kind of piggyback off of this after I say it, but I think the biggest thing that we see is people assuming that they can just whip up that website and run ads that are going to convert. And it's not true. You have to put effort into the website that you're building. Having a website is easy. Anybody can have a website, but having a website that is going to be compliant with Google Ads and also converts once you're running ads is a completely different thing. There are a lot of things that you need to do on that website to make people trust it, to make Google trust it, and then to give people confidence in purchasing that product from you once they get there. And all of that is important to understand before you start running Google Ads. So I think that that's one thing that we see. Either those people come to us suspended or they come to us saying, nothing's working. I've been paying Google all this money and it's not working. So then we introduce them to John if they're suspended, or Will if they're an ongoing management client, and also sometimes John if they're ongoing management. And our whole team kind of talks about what can we do to help them. And 90% of the time, it all goes back to the website. But Will, I'll kind of let you piggyback off of how that website interprets into how we build out the Merchant Center, Google Ads, and then what that means whenever we're deciding on budget and what that return on ad spend can look like, how long it's going to take, things like that.
Sure. Yeah. So as someone that's invested in drop shipping, what you recognize is that what you have going for you is not that your products are not available anywhere else necessarily, though you may have an exclusive provider. What you're looking to do is provide, excellent customer service to your customers because the products are being sent to them directly, and also how you present yourself, the marketing approach, your branding, things like that. So Becky mentioned the website. Whether or not you're using Google Ads or a different platform, most users are going to end up on your website, whether that's on the home page or directly on the product page. This is going to be a great opportunity for you to sell yourself. And if you've just copy and pasted the approach of a different dropshipper that you want to replicate what they're doing, but you haven't made it your own, you haven't really made known the offers that you have that separate you from other people, maybe selling a similar or the same product, if what they're seeing doesn't give them confidence that you are who you say you are, because there are a lot of websites out there that look like they're legitimate and they're scams. And so you want to do everything you can to position yourself as someone that's legitimate, trustworthy, that's going to make sure you get the product that you ordered in a reasonable time frame and is going to work with them directly. So the website information is key. You want to have great photos, you want to have great product descriptions, you want the layout and functionality of your website to be easy to navigate. You don't want just a templated shell of a website with some product information thrown in. And then if someone goes to look at, okay, this is a great deal, what other products they have? And then everything just falls apart because the product categories don't make sense. We've had clients that we worked with where, because of the attributes that they had set up, there was 3 different categories for the color blue, lowercase spelled, uppercase, things like that. So make sure it's systematized, that you've got consistency there so that they know how to find different things they're looking for, whether that's color of apparel or different devices they're looking to purchase. And so that's the first thing they're going to see is the product, the information you have there, and then the website is going to be how you present yourself. So that's going to be a really important part of that process.
Yeah, it's about value add. What value are you adding to the potential customer? Why would they purchase from you rather than going to Amazon or somewhere else? Like you said, Will, this is not generally a unique exclusive product to you. You're drop shipping something that they could buy from other places. So as a drop shipper, you're a marketer. That's the primary thing you're doing. You are marketing these products. You don't have efficiencies, or when it comes to the operational side of things, shipping, you're at the mercy essentially of the manufacturer. So what you can do is you can build your brand. You can make an awesome experience for customers. You can make them, you can show why you're trustworthy. You can provide new information, unique content, thoughts about the products that you're selling that they can't find other places. Everything that you can do to make your website and your brand more helpful and more appealing and more emotionally compelling to people, that's where the true value of being able to be successful as a dropshipper comes in.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest misconception I see with dropshippers that reach out to us, like you mentioned, Becky, is them thinking, hey, I can just throw up a quick website, put the products in there, and they'll sell themselves. The other thing that we see come up all the time is that they don't have an understanding of their numbers and margins, because Google Ads, Facebook, any kind of advertising platform, they're not cheap these days. This is not 10 years ago where you can go out and get clicks for a couple cents and make a bunch of money. It is expensive to run advertising, and you have to have sufficient margins on your products to be able to justify cost per acquisition. If you're like, hey, I can sell this thing and I'll make $2 a profit every time I sell this thing. Well, you don't have margin there to actually go and run ads to get people to your website. So it might be awesome that you're like, oh, I can sell 100,000 of these and I'll make $200,000 profit. You can't acquire customers without sufficient margin in the profit to be able to say, okay, yes, I'm going to invest into advertising and into the other things required to get those customers in the door. One thing I liked what you mentioned, Will, when it comes to kind of structure and categorization is, as a drop shipper, you want to think through, okay, what cross sells and upsells can I do to increase your average order value? Because that is crucial. And that's where you do have a competitive advantage over maybe the manufacturer or someone else who's just selling this product. You can say, hey, throw on this cool widget, another $5 here, another $10 here, or upsell, like, hey, here's a better version, whatever. You can suddenly create that margin that maybe you don't have for just that one product purchase, if you can then get add-ons and you can add profit. So think about not just how can I sell product A, but how can I create an experience, create a brand where I can sell product A, B, and C as a cross-sell initially. And then I can follow up with this customer and increase the lifetime value of that customer by then selling them other products down the road. And that's where, from what I've seen, the real profit and success comes, is the drop shippers who think strategically, who think long-term. Just honestly, if you're in the mindset of I can become a millionaire tomorrow because some gurus are doing this and they made a YouTube video about it, it's not gonna work. Like that's not the world that we live in. And you have to invest time, energy, and money into any business these days, and that includes drop shipping. And there are unique challenges to drop shipping that some other businesses don't even have to contend with.
And I think with that profit that you're talking about, that's one thing that really leans into understanding what budget you're going to have whenever you're running those ads, right? From the very beginning, understanding the profit margins is going to help you to understand how much you're going to be able to spend, how much you're going to need to spend. And in some cases, maybe you have 10 different products, but at least knowing which one is the most profitable can help you maximize that budget if you're going to run one Google Shopping ad or one Performance Max campaign based off of that particular product, something like that, where you can maximize that budget versus what a lot of drop shippers do. They come to us and they've got, a $500 a month budget and they're running ads for 500 products. It's never going to work out that way. Will, do you have any things that you're seeing when it comes to like budget that works, minimum, maximum, or how people can best spread that budget out to help their dropshipping campaigns actually perform?
So with any budget, with any company that we work with, it's going to depend very much on the specific product, the vertical that you're operating in. So what works for John Smith is not necessarily going to work for you over here because maybe your margins aren't as good. And so you have to be much more efficient than he does, even if you're selling the same product. Maybe he's got a deal with something like that. And so keeping that in mind when thinking through, okay, how much margin do we have to play around with? What is it going to cost me to capture market share and be able to convert at a high enough rate that I'm not just breaking even, but actually profitable with your other overhead that you have. So keeping those things in mind. Another thing I want to mention related to marketing efficiently and being able to be profitable is not just your website like we talked about before, but also with your product feed. So something, depending on where you're at in the process, you may be familiar with, you set your product feed up, maybe in Shopify, you're connecting that to Google Merchant Center. One thing that we offer to our clients that goes a long way is optimizing your product feed. Because again, you're offering products that are probably available from other people, and they may or may not be selling them well, but this is your opportunity to incorporate in the product title, the product description, the images that you're using, things that separate you. So if the other person's got an image that's just not set up well, or it's grainy, or doesn't fit Google's best practices, this is an easy opportunity for you to make sure that yours really shine, that the product title makes sense based on what people are searching, what they're interested in, accurately describes your product. And so that's one way that we're going to be able to help you, is making sure all those dots are connected and that you're not only following Google's best practices, but within policy compliance, as well as making sure that you're capturing that market share and able to give yourself a competitive edge.
Yeah. And I'll segue too from that kind of conversation about images, or that example of images, over to the policy side of things for a minute, because we see a ton of new drop shippers who create a Google Ads account and or a Google Merchant Center account, and they get suspended right away by Google, and they don't know why, and they don't know how to fix it. And that's not because Google inherently is against drop shipping businesses, because that's not true. You may read that online, but we work with plenty of drop shippers ourselves and have in the past who are successfully advertising through Google. There's no policy against it. What Google does not like, though, are, fly-by-night operators who create websites and aren't going to deliver. And unfortunately, a lot of the same attributes for those businesses are true of brand new dropshipping businesses as well. Things like, hey, there's no credibility yet, there's no reviews, you're maybe using product images that are used across other websites as well. So a lot of dropshippers, they'll just copy text from the manufacturer for the product description. And so Google's looking at this and like, wait, this is copy paste from other places. There's no unique value and there's no history for this business. So we have no way of knowing, are they really legitimately going to fulfill these products, or are they just going to take your money and run with it and open up a new store next week? And so that's why Google suspends a lot of things. And I'm not going to go through all the steps here because we have other videos you can go watch about how to set up Google Merchant Center and things to do to prevent some suspensions. But from a high level, again, think about value add. Don't just copy paste other websites. Don't just copy paste what the manufacturer provides. Think about it as, this is my selling point. This is my opportunity to write new content, to take new images, to get a better experience for the customer. And that's also going to make it less likely that Google is going to find issue with you because it's unique, valuable content. It's new images that they're not finding elsewhere on the web, etc. And so it kind of kills two birds with one stone, as they say. And then along with that too, make sure that you're putting policy pages into place. Make sure people know what your return policy is, your refund policy, your shipping policies, things like that. Those, again, are things we also talk about in other videos, but those are very important to making sure that Google sees enough credibility with your store to basically take a chance and say, I hope they're legit. I'm going to let people who are using the Google network access that website, as opposed to them saying, no, I don't want to take the risk of giving our users a bad experience. I'm not going to let these people run ads through Google. Becky, well, I think we've covered some good ground here. Any other closing comments you would make to the current or prospective dropshipper who's watching this video?
I'll go first, and then I'll let Will close us out. I would say the more niche you can make your dropshipping store or service, the better. I would say the biggest ones we see getting either suspended or having disapproved ads or not performing well are the dropshippers that have all of these random products that they've chosen in their store. The ones we see be really successful have found their niche. They're some sort of special furniture. They are some sort of tool provider, something to do with boating. Whatever you can do, find something you're passionate about, align your store with that, and then create your own brand around that. And that's really what I think is going to make you the most successful and will hopefully provide all that credibility that John's talking about that's going to make your ads perform better.
This is your opportunity to think outside the box, think about what separates you from other people. If you have that niche or don't have that niche, maybe it's a product that other people sell, but you can find something unique about how you present it, how you're able to offer that really sets you apart. And whether you're going into the holidays, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, or it's just a regular day in June, there are things you want to think about. What promotions can you run? What things can you offer that are going to set you apart and help you be successful there?
Absolutely. Thank you, Becky. Thanks, Will. Thank you for watching. Tap subscribe if you want more content like this. We'll put some other videos on the screen that you can watch as well that will help you understand how to dominate Google Ads. And until next time, signing off.